Hey guys, Movie Fan 356 for my Arrow after show. And today, if you guys have never seen my after show before, uh, basically what I do is I write down the positives and the negatives of each episode. And today is the Flash after show. We're going to be talking about season 1, episode 4. And I don't really have hardly any negatives from this episode. It was a really good episode. I know I kind of said this before, but so far, this is my favorite episode of the entire series so far. But we're only 4 episodes in, so I'm sure it'll just keep getting better and better from here. But yeah, like I said, season 1, episode 4 of The Flash. Let's get right into it. The positives. The episode starts off, we see Barry just having fun, and they're really testing his skills to see how many things he can do at one time. And to do that, he plays games with each one of the Flash crew. He's playing Operation with Caitlin, he's playing ping pong with Cisco, and he's playing chess with Dr. Wells, all at the same time. And I had so much fun with this scene, and you could tell Grant Gustin himself is having so much fun with the scene. The character of Barry having so much fun in that scene. And I really, really like that a lot. Before I get to the rest of the positives, the overall episode, I usually like to give a little description of what the episode was about. Basically, somebody steals this gun from Star Labs. It was basically built to stop the Flash, to kill the Flash. And when Barry finds out about this, he's very pissed that that was even made. And if it was made, he's more pissed about the fact that Cisco didn't tell him about it. And this guy, which we're calling Captain Cold, who's played by Wentworth Miller, but I'll talk about him. He has it, and he's trying to stop the Flash once he sees what the Flash can do. Now let's get to the rest of the positives. Barry flipping through the mugshots. There's a scene where Joe tells him, look through these mugshots and see if you recognize the guy. And he just like that. And that was just a cool little small thing that I really liked. Also, we had Felicity Smoke in this episode from Arrow. And everybody knows that I'm a pretty big fan of Felicity. She's not my favorite. She's not the one I wanted Oliver to end up being with. I'm not Olicity. But I do love the dynamic between the two, and I love Felicity as a character. So seeing her pop up in The Flash was pretty cool, and I like that she's in a good amount of the episode, which I knew she was going to be. And speaking of Felicity, that brings me to Caitlin and Felicity's dynamic between the two characters, because in the first 2 episodes, wasn't that big on the Caitlin character. I didn't really like her. But last week episode was when I warmed up to her. I warmed up to Caitlin last week, and because she basically is the Felicity of Central City, of the Flash. So I like seeing Felicity and Caitlin together doing their thing. We're working together. And there's a scene with Joe and Eddie, and I'll talk about that more a little bit, but there's a particular scene where they're having a conversation about Iris, and Joe basically tells Eddie, look, you're my partner, I don't really care that you're dating my daughter, we have to keep this work-related whenever we're on a case. We can't talk about, we can't bring up Iris. And, Eddie's like, okay, fine, so let's turn on the radio. And the radio is playing all these love songs, like Let's Get It On, and a couple other things. Very awkward but very funny scene, and I actually did like that scene a lot. Let's talk about the villain, Captain Cold, who's played by Wentworth Miller, which you guys might know from Prison Break and Resident Evil Afterlife. I always thought he was a good actor. I don't particularly like a lot of the things that he chooses to do, but I always think that he's good in those things. Like Resident Evil Afterlife. Not too big on that one in the franchise, but he actually did a good job in it. And this one, he is perfect. And Captain Cold is a villain that I actually do know a little bit about. If you guys know me, I'm not a big fan of the Flash character or the Flash world, so there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening in the show that I don't really know anything about. But Captain Cold was a guy that I did know about. And yeah, I thought he was perfect as Captain Cold, and Wentworth Miller did an excellent job. And I'll kind of talk about a little bit more on him in a minute here. Um, Iris pushing Varsity, if that's what we're calling it, Varsity. Um, because Olicity is Oliver and Felicity. Varsity is Barry and Felicity. And you can tell Barry likes Iris, but Iris is with Eddie. And, Felicity likes Barry, but she also likes Oliver, too. So Felicity's conflicted. Barry likes both Felicity and Iris, excuse me. Um, so when she comes to town, it's a little awkward for him. And Iris, very, very comfortable with the situation. I don't think she has any idea that Barry even likes her yet. Um, and she's certainly not giving off any hints to Barry on that end. So the fact that she was pushing for Barry and Felicity to be together, I actually like, because I think those two would work as a couple, and I would like to actually see Barry and Felicity as a couple. I know all you Felicity fans are going to be pissed at me right now, but yeah, I'd much rather see her with Barry, because I think Barry's just a better match for her. So I like that Iris was pushing it. Barry saving everyone on the train. It does resemble the Spider-Man 2 Doc Ock Spider-Man train sequence a little bit, but the fact that Barry was going back and forth saving everyone on the train, and Captain Cold was on there, I thought that whole sequence was awesome. DC, if you guys, like I said, if you know me, I'm more of a Marvel fanboy. I do like some DC stuff, like Batman. Huge fan of the Batman world. I'm love the Batman world. Green Arrow was never really a fan of until I saw the show Arrow. Then I'm like, Green Arrow's cool. Flash, same thing. Not really a fan of the Flash until the show started. I'm like, okay, I'm digging it. But yeah, while Marvel might be winning with the movies, DC is killing it with their television shows. Yeah, with Arrow and The Flash and Gotham. I haven't watched Constantine yet, but yeah, the special effects on The Flash are probably they're very cinematic. The thing about Arrow and The Flash is those shows are very cinematic, and with The Flash in particular, the special effects very cinematic, and I highly enjoy the special effects, and they just keep getting better and better every week. So I'm glad that that turned out so well. That whole train sequence turned out so well. The teamwork between Felicity and the Flash gang with Caitlin, Cisco, and Dr. Wells, and that whole teamwork. So yeah, I thought the teamwork between them all was really good. Open doors to more Captain Cold. Yeah, Barry did not kill Captain Cold, and they didn't capture him and put him into Star Labs like they did with the Mist. So there is open doors of Captain Cold coming back more and more frequently. Now, this is my hope. I hope that Captain Cold will be like the big baddie of the first season of The Flash. Because we're 4 episodes in now, we still don't really have a big baddie yet. You could argue Dr. Wells, but I still don't see him as a villain just yet. Because right now, still at this point, he's trying to protect Barry. He's trying to protect the Flash. So, yeah, I don't see him as a villain yet. So I don't think he's going to be the big bad guy of Season 1. They might evolve his character into more of a villain character later on, but I'm hoping Captain Cold is the main bad guy for the whole first season, because I would really, really love to see that. And finally, last thing on the positives, Wells. Dr. Wells, like I've mentioned this before, Dr. Wells is my favorite character on this show, but Captain Cold is right up there now. But, yeah, I just love the mystery behind Dr. Wells. You're like, well, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I just don't know. And even like his sense of humor, the way he wants to help Barry, there's just everything about the character I loved. And once again, he killed it as Dr. Wells in this episode as well. Now the negatives. The negatives, I'm not a fan of Iris, really. At least not yet. I think the actress is fine. The actress is doing phenomenal. In my opinion, I have no problem with her acting. It's just her whole storyline. I don't really see where it's going. In this one, we kind of saw a little bit of where it could go. But the negative of this episode is more involving Iris, Eddie, and Joe. There's a whole plot line there because Eddie and Iris are dating. Joe's Iris's father and Eddie's partner on the case. And uh, that whole plot line we don't really need. I mean, I guess it gives uh, kind of a purpose for them because Eddie and Iris really have no purpose right now. Um, Hopefully that changes, but as of right now, that's really their only purpose is that whole plot line between the three of them. And the last negative I have on here, I know there's not very many negatives. Barry snapping at Cisco. And I don't think this is a negative because, oh, well, he shouldn't have done it. No, it's totally understandable why he did it. I got it. It's just, I like the two characters, and I really don't want to see the two characters fighting. So, that's why it's a negative for me, but it's totally logical and reasonable on why he was pissed off. I would have been pissed off too myself, but this part isn't a negative right here. Dr. Wells goes up to Cisco and he's terrifying. He's terrifying right here. He says, "Don't ever do anything like that again," and he's all sincere, and it's just fucking creepy. So. So guys, yeah, that's about my negatives and my positives. Really good episode, and as of right now, it is my favorite episode of The Flash so far. I thought the villain was good, the storyline was really good, the whole adding Felicity in the mix was cool. Can never go wrong with that. Yeah, they didn't go back to the way Caitlyn was before in the first two episodes, because I warmed up to her last week, and I'm hoping that she stays consistent now. Now that they've won me over with her. And so, yeah, that is my thoughts on The Flash, Season 1, Episode 4. And guys, have you guys seen the episode of The Flash yet? Probably. And if you have, what do you guys think of the episode? What do you guys think of Wentworth Miller as Captain Cold? Because I have a feeling he's going to be a big part this season, and we're going to keep seeing more and more of him. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed Captain Cold. So guys, that's all I can say for today, and I'll see you guys in the next video.